Alright, so in my last video, I did the top 5 AEW wrestlers of 2022. Let's go up north to Connecticut and do a top 5 WWE wrestlers of 2022. Now you might be saying, Taxi, I thought you were a AEW wrestling channel. Why are you discussing WWE? Well, I like wrestling in general, and I feel like if you don't at least acknowledge the other companies, you're fickle. So with that being said, let's discuss the top 5 WWE wrestlers of 2022. Honorable mention. I usually give honorable mentions, and today I am gonna give one. The honorable mention goes to Cody Rhodes. Also, again, forgive my throat because apparently I got deep throated by 10,000 dicks or something because my throat hurts and I feel like it's gonna be raspy in the majority of the videos, so bear with me. Now going back to Cody Rhodes, he had an amazing half of the year from beginning to end. From January and February, he was still a part of AEW, and he had, not gonna lie, a pretty good match series with Sammy Guevara. He had a good match at Holiday Bash in 2021, but the problem with Cody there was he wanted to still be a babyface, and he's gone on the record and says that, oh, I was already a heel in AEW, you know, that whole shtick, I was a heel. I was like, no, that's not a heel. You're not a heel. I know you're trying to look like the delusional babyface, like a Kurt Angle, but Kurt Angle at least acknowledged the crowd and said, you know, I'm the good guy. You guys are the assholes. I'm the good guy. I don't know why you're bullying me. That's what Cody Rhodes should have done. He should have been antagonistic to the crowd instead of like liking all the boos. It was stupid. He had great matches, and of course the ladder match at Beach Break was amazing. It defined Sammy Guevara before he ruined it himself. That's a W for Cody Rhodes. And then WrestleMania, his re-debut against Seth Rollins. It was amazing. That trilogy of matches with Seth Rollins, that whole rivalry, it basically was a good introduction back to Cody Rhodes, back to this new persona of the American Nightmare and why he wants to become world champion, you know, finally winning the world championship because his father and technically his brother never won it. So that was pretty cool. And he had a good rematch at Backlash, and he had, of course, the amazing match at Hell in a Cell with the iconic, you know, picture of his pec being all bruised, all purple and black and blue. It was such an image, and I think it got the first 5-star match by Dave Meltzer, which, you know, fickle fans, that has to be something. But sadly, because of that injury from his pec, he was gone around June of 2022, so we couldn't really see the full potential of a Cody Rhodes run. But for what he did at such little time, I felt like it was an honorable mention to put Cody Rhodes in the top 5 of WWE's wrestlers of 2022. So with that being said, let's start off the actual list with number 5, Seth Rollins. Now you might be saying, why Seth Rollins in top 5? He kind of lost all this year. And that is true. All this year he has been losing. He started off at the Royal Rumble losing to Roman Reigns. He had this kind of like delusional run of wanting to be at WrestleMania. He even said, you know, fuck Kevin Owens, I want to wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin. Can I be in that match? He wanted to inject himself in every match because he wanted a WrestleMania moment, and he got it in probably the best way of putting Cody Rhodes over, and that had a good run all the way to June. That was an amazing rivalry, and of course, you know, it takes two to tango, so you have to give your flowers to Seth Rollins as well. Money in the Bank was okay, but that led to us having a rivalry with Matt Riddle. Now that rivalry is interesting because during that rivalry, Vince McMahon was, you know, going out of power, the paralegals and all that stuff was happening. So of course we had to change gears with now whatever Triple H wanted, and I felt like he gave it a much needed boost. You know, they were gonna have a match at SummerSlam, but it changed into them having a pretty great match at Clash at the Castle. And then after that, they had another banger of a match with the introduction of the Fight Pit in the main roster, because Matt Riddle had a match with Timothy Thatcher, aka Himothy Thatcher, at NXT, and those matches were interesting and really good. And you know, Seth Rollins delivered with that as well. And you know, when he won the United States Championship, the fans just grew to love Seth Rollins so much that he turned babyface. And I felt like that's a testament to Seth Rollins. Literally all of the feuds he's been in, he's lost. He lost the Cody Rhodes feud. Technically, he lost the Matt Riddle feud. Right now, he's no longer US champion because Austin Theory beat him at Survivor Series. There's this new, I guess, wave for Seth Rollins. He's losing all these matches but he's still growing his stock. He's still being relevant, and he's still being popular. He could take losses, you know. He's not gonna grow anymore as long as he beats Roman Reigns, and that's never gonna happen when he's the tribal chief. So it's gonna take a while for Seth Rollins to, you know, gain a new level. But right now he's just over there he's having feuds. I think right now he's probably still continuing a rivalry with Austin Theory for the US belt, which the US belt is the main belt in Monday Night Raw. So it does make sense why, but again, flowers to Seth Rollins, and the Shield are up today, bro. The Shield, they're up. Number 4 on this list is the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. Now, it's really interesting because Sheamus, I always liked Sheamus. I know a lot of people, it's not their cup of tea when it comes to Sheamus, but ever since 2019, 2020, he's been on a different role ever since he broke up from the Bar. 2022 was an interesting year. You know, he created the Brawling Brutes, and at first it was kind of boring, and it was, you know, the incident with Big E, it was kind of sad and all that stuff. But around June or July, he started having this momentum that was crazy, that grew when he challenged Gunther at Clash at the Castle. When I tell you to watch a wrestling match, you have to watch Gunther versus Sheamus at Clash at the Castle. That is a good match just to see if you're a casual wrestling fan, or if you're not. If you show this to someone who doesn't watch wrestling, they'll be like, oh damn, that's pretty cool, because it looked like a UFC wrestling hybrid type of match. You know, Gunther, he's an amazing wrestler. He's probably going to be world champion in like 5 years. Sheamus and Gunther for the IC title belt at Clash at the Castle has to be a big W. And he's been having bangers, you know. Also, he had a mini rivalry with Drew McIntyre. Though they always have amazing chemistry. You know, the Donnybrook match, that was a pretty good match. I think it was a #1 contendership match, but that was a good match. And right now, Sheamus, he's getting his flowers. People, you know, he got over with the banger after banger. You know, quote, he's getting super over, and he's getting Butch, Pete Dunne over, Rich Holland over. So, and I feel like he's probably gonna face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. I heard he's gonna face Kevin Owens, and it makes sense because all of their wrestling matches are at the Rumble. But I feel like it's better if Sheamus gets a chance at least to, you know, be with the world champion. But that's just my opinion. And again, Sheamus, here are your flowers because you deserve it for giving us banger after banger after banger. And speaking of someone who can bring bangers, Sami Zayn is number 3. And the reason why Sami Zayn is number 3 is, yes, he is monstrously popular right now. He is getting over with the Uzi stuff, you know, contribution to helping the bloodline getting a bit more popular, his mini rivalry with Jey Uso, his contributions with Solo Sikoa as a character, him patty caking, doing this weird handshake with Jimmy Uso. It's amazing. And every promo he does, he outshines Paul Heyman. How do you outshine Paul Heyman in a promo? Well, someone did, and that guy's name is Sami Zayn. And, you know, I can't, I guess, freaking ride his dick too much, because at the same time, he hasn't had many memorable matches in, you know, wrestling. The only memorable match was him versus Johnny Knoxville, so that's interesting. But, hey, you know, Sami's character is going to be really interesting going on. I just wonder what's going to happen to his character in 2023. You know, Roman's going to have to face The Rock or Cody Rhodes, and how Sami Zayn gonna be introduced into that rivalry. And clearly Kevin Owens has a back to scratch with whatever he's doing with Sami Zayn. So that's going to be interesting. Number 2 on the list has to be Bianca Belair. She has to be probably the best women's wrestler of 2022. Like, you can give me your New Japan Wrestling Joshi wrestlers. No one can compare to Bianca Belair. She's on a whole different level. She's wrestled Becky Lynch, Asuka, was about to wrestle Naomi and Sasha Banks until they left, had good matches with Bayley, Io Sky, Dakota Kai. Is probably getting in a rivalry with Alexa Bliss right now, which is going to be interesting. But right now, she's just done some good work. She's like prime John Cena 2005 to 2009-10, where she was just super popular. And what's interesting is a lot of the fans, especially the IWC, hated Super Cena. Right now, the majority of the IWC love Super Bianca. And I think it's because she's just like such a good person. You know, she has so many good qualities. She does her own ring attire, for Christ's sake. So clearly Bianca Belair is her, and you know, it's no surprise that she is the best women's wrestler of 2022. But in my opinion, she's the second best WWE wrestler of 2022. There's no shock. She's had amazing matches. She's, you know, she's not that good in the promo department, but she's good for what it is. And, you know, she can only go higher, and I just wonder who's gonna dethrone Super Bianca. And speaking of dethroning, number 1 on the list is your tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Respect your tribal chief, everyone. He has had probably the most interesting and most amazing run in WWE. Think about it. So in the beginning, he had this rivalry with Brock Lesnar because they were gonna do the, you know, who is the best wrestler, you know, Vince McMahon wet dream, because that's his wet dream, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. They failed, you know, at WrestleMania 31. They didn't want any of them. At WrestleMania 34, they were finally ready for Roman Reigns, but they didn't pull the trigger until SummerSlam. And now they're gonna have their third match, and the match, yes, was a disappointment. Apparently Roman got injured, but it did its job, and Roman finally conquered Brock Lesnar once and for all. Now, after that was interesting because at Backlash, he had a 6-man tag, and we thought he was going against Drew McIntyre, but apparently got a little, you know, put in the back burner, and he didn't really show up for Hell in a Cell and Money in the Bank. But after Vince McMahon left, this is the interesting part, he felt more important than when he was with Vince McMahon as Booker. Think about it. In SummerSlam, yes, we were gonna have that match because Vince McMahon scheduled it, but then they said last man standing, and they had this honestly most amazing moment of Brock Lesnar bringing in a tractor and flipping the ring. That has to be one of the best unexpected moments of all time, especially for the modern generation of wrestling. After that, he had a banger of a match with Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle, and a cool introduction for Solo Sikoa, who's going to be a big deal. Shout out to Solo Sikoa, by the way, showing love for Umaga. I always loved Umaga. Shout out to him. After that, they had Extreme Rules. He wasn't there, but they were preparing for Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. And a lot of people are wondering, is Logan Paul in connection with Vince McMahon? And I felt like he's more of a Triple H guy, because if you remember, Triple H, I feel like, is more in tune with the new generation. You know, he has kids of this generation, so he knows what people watch or who's gonna get the fans. You know, he probably is the one who brought Bad Bunny to the WWE, so it makes sense. And Bad Bunny is an international superstar, so it makes sense. Triple H brought in Logan Paul, and they had an incredible match at Crown Jewel. Incredible match. You know, I could say a lot of negative things about Logan Paul. Heck, I could just say Japan and immediately he'll get roasted. But Logan Paul deserves his flowers, and it's all thanks to the Tribal Chief. Then Survivor Series and the whole Bloodline storyline. Next to the MJF 2024 I'm leaving storyline, I feel like the Bloodline storyline is the most interesting thing in wrestling today. It's interesting because we don't know who's gonna dethrone Roman Reigns, and whoever is gonna be a big superstar. We don't know what's gonna happen to the Bloodline. We don't even know what's gonna happen with Sami Zayn. Is Sami Zayn gonna turn on the Bloodline? Is the Bloodline gonna turn on Sami Zayn? We don't know. But all we know is whenever they're associated with Roman Reigns, it's like they get elevated, you know? Sami Zayn right now isn't as popular as ever. The Usos are like in contention for best wrestling tag team of the year. Solo Sikoa is a bright star waiting to happen. It's amazing that Roman Reigns is able to do this, and it shows why he's the top guy, why he's the main event guy. I think he was bred a little too early, or they wanted to push him a little too early, but now we're showing the best of Roman Reigns, and that is the Tribal Chief, and that is why he is my Tribal Chief, and why he is the best wrestler in WWE in 2022. So my throat hurts like a motherfucker, and I'm about to leave. So with that being said, everybody, thank you guys for watching if you did watch it, and see you guys next time. See ya.